presentation on histamine intolerance and how it's related to your gut health and your hormone health and your overall health. So many people are suffering from histamine intolerance, and it shows up in lots of different ways because we have histamine receptors everywhere in the body. So I will go over some of the different symptoms that happen from histamine intolerance, but it's so much more than what you think of sneezing. So what is histamine? This is a normal part of our body's immune response. It helps us respond to foreign invaders. We have enzymes in the body that we make naturally to help break histamine down. One of them is called DAO. And histamine only becomes a problem for us when our theoretical bucket overflows. So if you think of your body as the bucket and histamine building up in there without being broken down at a rate adequate enough for exposure, when that bucket starts to overflow, we start to feel the symptoms of histamine. It's not that we're particularly sensitive to it to start with, it's simply that we have too much in the body and we cannot tolerate that. Why might this happen? Stress is a big one. Hormone imbalances. So if you're a sufferer of cyclical migraines, I can almost guarantee you that what you actually have is histamine intolerance. Part of the reason that histamine is closely related to our hormones is that an increase in histamine will cause an increase in estrogen in the body. So people get estrogen dominant type symptoms like PCOS and a lot of really bad PMS kinds of symptoms and nausea and things like that. So when estrogen increases, so does histamine, and the other way around as well. And there's also an issue with DAO production associated with hormonal imbalances that are causing or caused by histamine intolerance. So leaky gut or microbiome disruptions, and that's because when things that are meant to stay in our digestive system make their way into the systemic circulation, the blood circulation, that obviously gives the body a signal that something is in the bloodstream that doesn't belong there, and it will begin to produce histamine. Histamine is strongly associated with leaky gut. Medications that block the DAO enzyme, there are lots of them, and birth control pills are one of them. So if you take birth control pills to help you with your hormonally related symptoms that are probably coming from histamine intolerance, obviously that can make the situation even worse. Yeast in the digestive system, mast cell activation syndrome, which is often correlated with mold toxicity. Thyroid issues are back and forth, just like with hormones. They worsen each other. Thyroid issues worsen histamine intolerance, and histamine intolerance will worsen thyroid issues. Environmental allergens, over-exercising, and mainly that's because, well, one of the reasons I should say is because over-exercising can cause gut permeability. So then you've got the exposure from that. And then there are lots of foods that contain or liberate histamine. This is not a root cause itself, but certainly eating high histamine foods on a regular basis can just contribute to the overall amount of histamine floating around in the body. So what kinds of symptoms come from histamine intolerance? We have histamine receptors in the brain, so we might get headaches or feel dizzy when we're standing up. The obvious ones: nasal congestion, sneezing, and runny nose, wheezing, shortness of breath, asthma kinds of things. With the heart, people will report heart palpitations. Obviously, anaphylaxis, we hope that never happens. Consistently low blood pressure can be from histamine intolerance, or high blood pressure as well. Flushing, hives, and itching, stomach aches, all kinds of digestive symptoms come from histamine intolerance. And histamine is also responsible for producing stomach acid. So there's a big role there too. As your histamine levels increase, so will your stomach acid production. So migraines, hormonal issues, nausea, low blood pressure, all these things can be symptoms of histamine intolerance. How do you know if you have it? So you can take a supplement that will help you break it down, and it's actually just DAO as a supplement. So DAO is is the enzyme in the body that breaks down histamine, and we can take that orally so that we can lower the overall burden that the body is dealing with as far as histamine. Additionally, low histamine diet can be super helpful. Foods rich in histamine are listed here. These are the basic ones, and some actually liberate or release histamine in the body. So there's two things to consider there. As of very recently, there actually is a genetics test that you can do to see. It's not as common. Usually, the root cause for people has to do with gut microbiome imbalances, digestive issues, stress, or one of those things, but it is not expensive to rule out actually a genetic difference within you that prevents you from making adequate DAO or one of the other enzymes that breaks down histamine in the body. So this is the supplement that I've had manufactured. It is a DAO supplement. That is all it is DAO that your body will use to break down histamine. There's no side effects to taking this, so if you want to try it and see if it helps with your symptoms, let me know. I will actually give you this supplement complimentary, and I will tell you the different foods to avoid while you're using it, and you should notice a difference in your symptoms within 2 weeks. So this does not obviously solve the root cause taking this supplement, but it will absolutely make you feel way better naturally, and we can work together on a plan moving forwards if this turns out to be something that is impacting your health and wellness.